Hey everyone, Shabby Gamer here, and welcome back to another episode of our WWE 2K16 Universe Mode. And this, which is our next episode of Thunder, and we are now building towards the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view next weekend. Right now, a little bit of a strange way to start the episode. I'm at a bit of a roadblock here with this Universe Mode, and I did announce over the last couple of episodes that we are going to look to maybe merge our brands into two sort of super brands in the next few months, or the next few weeks, let's say. I've never thought about that right now, and I want your guys' opinion on this because I'm sort of in a dilemma on my mind now. I'm not quite sure what I want to do, so I'd rather you guys make the decision, and then I don't want to make an unpopular decision. So basically, I've got the idea of either continuing on with this Universe Mode, and obviously merging Raw and SmackDown and Nitro and Thunder into two super brands and doing sort of like an Invasion pay-per-view for Battle for Control. Or on the other hand, we could finish this Universe Mode at the next pay-per-view for each brand. So that'll obviously be Elimination Chamber and Battleground. So we've got another month's worth of episodes left. But then we would also start a brand new Universe Mode up until the release of 2K17, just using the new rosters that were drafted the other day on SmackDown. So of course we'll have the Raw and SmackDown, and we'll also bring in NXT as well. And of course we will use the exact rosters that were drafted by Raw and SmackDown, and we will also use an up-to-date NXT roster of all the new guys that have been brought in, as well as some of the Cruiserweight Classic guys as well. So yeah, I'm sort of in them two minds, either to continue on with this Universe Mode but merge it into two brands and have two shows a week, or go to a more realistic Universe Mode of Raw, SmackDown and NXT up until the release of 2K17. Now what I have done is I've created a poll on my Twitter page, so if you just want to go over there and just vote on which you would prefer to watch in the future, there will be a link in the description to my Twitter page, so while you're over there, just place the vote, and if you're over there, why not give me a follow as well on Twitter, because that'd be great. I could get my numbers up a little bit. So yeah, that's the decision I'm at, and I'm hoping you guys can help me. Let me know exactly what it is you want to see. So enough of all that, let's have a quick look at the card I've got set for you this evening here on Thunder. Of course, we are leading up towards Elimination Chamber, so we are going to be looking to have some qualifying matches. Now I've ruined it already. Look, we'll go up to the top. Right, here we go. Our opening match this evening is going to be The Undertaker taking on Braun Strowman. Strowman, quite a new member to this roster, was obviously swapped in when SmackDown took quite a few Cruiserweight guys from Thunder. Match number 2, we're going to have a 6-man tag. It's going to be Mil Muertes, Damien 666 and Bestia 666. They're going to be taking on the Wyatt family's Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. The match that I forgot to put on the last 2 weeks is finally going to happen here. It's going to be the rematch for the Women's Championship here on Thunder, as Sexy Star defends against the former champion Rosemary. Match number 4, the Tag Team Champions, The New Day, take on the Revival. Match number 5, we've got the Fighting Irish, Fit Finlay and Ken Shamrock taking on Crazy Steve and Abyss. Now match number 6 is going to be the first of our Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. It's going to be Sting taking on Dean Ambrose, Extreme Rules. The winner of this one will join Matanza, of course the Thunder champion, inside that cell next weekend. And well, we know what Eric Bischoff, the general manager here of Thunder, is like. We know he likes to He likes to make some interesting decisions, and he's made this one right here. This is going to be an Elimination Chamber qualifying match between 4 of the members of the NWO. You've got Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and of course the giant Paul White, as I get completely drowned out by a motorbike. And another one as well. Go away! Oh, they're gone now. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting match, that one. All 4 guys from the same stable, but they're all going to be desperate to get inside this Elimination Chamber and of course fight for the Thunder Championship. So I'm running a bit behind, as you can probably tell by when this video has been uploaded, so we're just going to watch the free match in this episode. We're going to skip Taker versus Strowman. It looks like an interesting match, but we'll have to save it for another day. And it was a win for The Undertaker, who of course will be involved in a qualifier next week of some sorts. We're also going to swip the 6-man tag because they really don't work in this game and last over an hour. And that was a win for the team of Muertes, Bestia and Damien. Pinned Luke Harper there. We'll watch the championship match. We'll skip the New Day versus the Revival. Of course, the New Day, the hottest thing on this roster, wins. The Fighting Irish versus Decay was a win for Decay, which leaves us with just the 3 matches. The Thunder Women's Championship. We've got the qualifier for the Elimination Chamber between Sting and Ambrose, and the qualifier of the NWO in a Fatal 4-Way. So without further ado, let's get into our opening match of the evening. And here is that first match. It is going to be the women's champion, Sexy Star, taking on Rosemary. Ah, we're in. We are in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Sorry, I'm a bit shocked as I thought the game had crashed there. That loading screen was about 5.5 minutes. I was just sat here watching it and thinking, it hasn't crashed so far this year in a loading screen. So I gave it the benefit of the doubt, and finally it did work. I think it's just a combination of a... well, that's a dodgy... Yeah. 2K, you've got to fix the clipping through the belts next year. That'd be very helpful. So yeah, I think it's the combination of a custom arena, 2 custom wrestlers, and a custom belt. I think it just creates such a amount of work for the game to load everything up. So yeah, it took a bit of time, but we are finally here. Of course, it's not going to take any time for you because I'm going to cut all that goodness of me sitting here in silence, listening to a woman shouting at her kids outside my front window, which was always helpful. But I'm glad she left before this match started. So yeah, clipping through the belt pretty severely there is Sexy Stomach. If you don't know much of Sexy Star, she is from AAA in Mexico, also working for Lucha Underground on the Lucha Ray station, whatever it's called in America. I have to watch it on the internet, of course, because I'm in the UK. I've still not watched any of this year's Lucha Underground, so my plan is tonight, because I've found it all on Daily Motion anyway. So my plan is tonight is to get Thunder and SmackDown recorded, get them uploaded for you, and I can start watching Lucha Underground this weekend. That's my plan. And then, of course, we will have to plan out what we're going to do later on as well. Of course, we are going to be running that poll now all the way until the end of next week, until I come to record the Elimination Chamber, because then we'll know at Elimination Chamber whether that's going to be the last pay-per-view for Nitro and Thunder, or whether that is just going to be the next pay-per-view for them, if that makes sense. Of course, we're not going to merge Nitro and Thunder, if we do, until week number 2 in next month. It will be after the Raw and SmackDown merge at Battleground. But again, just let me know what you would rather see. Would you rather see us continue on with this universe mode? But obviously we are going to be merging the rosters together, Thunder and Raw. Sorry, I keep getting this wrong, don't I? Nitro and Thunder will merge to make either Nitro or Thunder, depending on who wins that sort of invasion night. And then, of course, SmackDown and Raw will merge into, again, whichever brand wins that invasion night. Or we can go to a more up-to-date version with the new rosters. All the new NXT guys that got promoted up onto the main roster as well. And, of course, NXT as a separate brand. So we'll have 3 shows. So, in theory, if we change the newer style, we'll have 3 shows a week. If we stick with this one, we'll probably end up with 2 shows a week. But it's up to you what you would rather see. I'm sort of leaning towards starting a new one with the newer rosters. I'm excited to see how some of it would all work, and then we can have a look at that. But I'm also want to try and go back to NXT now. They've got a lot of new guys since the last time we've recorded any NXT. They've got TM61. They've got the Authors of Pain just for a couple of tag teams. They've got quite a few new ladies on the roster now as well. And I think things are getting interesting now with of course Bobby Roode making his debut recently in the tapings as well. I think it'd be pretty cool. So yeah, again, let me know what you think. What would you prefer to see, the newer version of the universe mode, or sticking with this current version? There will be a link in the description to that poll on Twitter, so please go over there and vote, because I'm sure it's going to be pretty close. Of course, Sexy Star here, the current Thunder Women's Champion. She won that belt away from Rosemary a few weeks back. Now Rosemary's looking quite dominant, as she's actually beaten Sexy in a non-championship match recently as well, which is why she has got herself another chance to get this belt back. And of course, Crazy Steve at ringside is always going to be a little bit of a jack in the box there for Rosemary. He's quite effective at changing the match really in their favour. Face bust there by Sexy Star. Now rolling Rosemary over. Big kick to the face. Rosemary back up to her feet. Sexy with a forearm. Then into a crucifix bomb as well. Taking Rosemary down hard. Rosemary, though, playing a bit of possum. Got brought back up to her feet and caught Sexy Star straight away in the Dragon Screw. Great jawbreaker there by Sexy on Rosemary. Big kicks there by Sexy as well. Really likes to utilise that Lucha Libre style, as we see there with a back heel kick. Great high flyer is Sexy Star. And she's not afraid to face off against the men either. We've seen that in the past. She's very effective at facing off against men and women. And I believe she has some great times in Lucha Underground coming up this season to come as well. Of course, they've already recorded all of season 3 of Lucha Underground. Yet it's not due to start being shown on TV for about another 3 or 4 months, I don't think. Which is pretty crazy. I'm hoping they'll get another season, but I think if they do get another season, they are probably going to lose a few guys. I think they will end up losing Ricochet. Yeah, I think they will end up losing Ricochet because from what I'm aware, I believe Ricochet has got a deal with Lucha Underground now where if he was to go WWE, he would not be able to be in WWE until his last appearance in Lucha Underground, which is roughly based to be on television next February. I just live on the noisiest street tonight, don't I? Sexy now with that great twisting neckbreaker. Dragging Rosemary into the middle of the ring. Could this be enough to pick up the 3 count? 1, 2, and 3, and it is. What a convincing victory there for Sexy. And I think the loading screen lasted longer than this match did. Sexy Star does a fantastic job here and retains her championship. She may have lost to Rosemary in a non-championship match, but when it matters, Sexy had the wherewithal to pull off the victory here. So well done to her. And I must admit, it was quite simple for her, wasn't it? There wasn't a lot in that one, really. And I'm surprised Crazy Steve didn't have a lot to do at ringside. Great tornado head scissors there. You see her just pulling Rosemary away from the ropes, went in for the pin. Now, it looks to me like WWE are going to go major on signings as well soon. We already know that Tommy End is effectively signed up by all accounts. Gargano and Ciampa both announced this weekend their last independent dates will be sort of early August, end of August I think it was, which to me means they're going to be signed up permanently by WWE as well. There's rumours that since the Cruiserweight Classic has begun, they've offered Ibushi, Metallic, Tozawa, and there was one other a contract, I think. They reckon that Brian Kendrick and Tajiri will stay as well to go into the new Cruiserweight division on Raw as more notable names. Kurt Hawkins and Rhino are rumoured to be joining SmackDown very, very soon as well. And from what I've read, WWE are looking to offer Zack Sabre Jr., I think Jack Gallagher as well. There's a few more of the guys from the Cruiserweight Classic. So it's going to be very interesting over the next few months just to see how many big names WWE bring in. I think it's going to be a massive set of signings, but I think we'll see a few more guys move up from NXT into the main roster soon as well. And here is our second match of the evening. It's going to be the first qualifier match for the Elimination Chamber as Sting takes on Dean Ambrose. And here we go. Of course, we know that Matanza is already going to be in that chamber next weekend because he is, of course, the Thunder champion. Absolutely demolished Hogan at the pay-per-view, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to take the belt away from him in the Elimination Chamber either. I think if anything, I'd be looking to lose this match because I do really not want to be locked inside a steel chamber like that with Matanza Cueto. He'd rip you all to shreds. So that's a little bit of a worry, but I'm sure that's not what's going through Sting and Dean Ambrose's mind. They both are desperate to be involved in this match. They desperately want to get hold of that Thunder Championship. Ambrose has been very unsuccessful over the last few months trying to get the United States Championship away from first Bad News Barrett and then, of course, Pentagon Jr., who he faced only, was it last week? It was last week at Money in the Bank and lost So he's got a chance here to get himself inside the Elimination Chamber. So if anything, he might actually be better off for losing that United States Championship match at Money in the Bank and gets himself inside the Elimination Chamber. Who knows? Sting, a guy who we've given chances to so far in this universe mode, he's not really taken many of those chances. He has had a... He's been in a tag team with Taker for a while, and then he had a feud against Taker for a while. But every time a championship's been involved, he's not been able to pull off the important victory he needs. And of course, he needs to pull off the important victory here against Ambrose just to get inside that Elimination Chamber. As I'm so happy to say that we're not going to see those three guys on commentary anymore. Let me try and remember who the commentary team is now. I think it was... My mind's gone blank now. Is it Michael Cole, Corey Graves and Byron Saxton on Raw? And JBL, Manulo, Ronaldo, however you say his name. And... Tom Phillips? Or am I making that up? Either way, I know that JBL's... But I know that... no, it's JBL. Yeah, JBL, Manulo, Ronaldo, and yeah, it might be that. I'm really looking forward to watching Raw and SmackDown next week. I've never really looked forward to watching them before, but I think once Battleground's out the way this weekend, and we can start then to see how the rosters are going to pan out on their own, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to seeing how people are going to get their opportunities. I'm a little bit disappointed with some of the draft picks. I really am. I was hoping to see Cesaro being picked as more of a prominent member of someone's roster, but I think he ended up being like the 12th or 15th pick or something stupid like that. It was really low down. I think some of the picks were amazing. The fact that Golden Truth got picked before the Usos, before the Dudley Boys, before the Vaudevillains, that just made me laugh. I couldn't believe some of the picks they were pulling out. It wasn't really... to me, not a lot of the draft picks made sense. I don't think they really balanced the rosters as well as I was hoping they would do either. I probably would have done it slightly different, but don't get me wrong, not too different. I think SmackDown has a decent roster. I think there's rumours that are going to be added to that roster pretty soon as well. As I said in the last match, I was reading yesterday that it's unconfirmed reports, but from a very reliable source on Lords of Pain, that Brian Myers, as he is known on the indie scene, or Kurt Hawkins as he was in WWE, and Rhino will both soon be joining up with the SmackDown roster. Now, I read that and I was sort of surprised about Kurt Hawkins. I thought out of all the people you could bring into the SmackDown roster, that was a bit of a strange one. But then, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know what? I've seen him on the indie scene, Kurt Hawkins, and he's been very, very good. He's really developed into a cracking character. And if he can translate that back onto the SmackDown roster, I think he'll do very, very well. I'm pretty much convinced that Dean Ambrose is going to lose the championship at Battleground. I keep calling it Battlefield because that's the game I'm waiting for. Yeah, I'm pretty much convinced that Ambrose will lose that championship at Battleground. Mainly because I think the WWE Championship will go to Raw. And then SmackDown will end up probably bringing back the World Heavyweight Championship. I've got a feeling they'll do that. I can't imagine they'll put the WWE Championship on SmackDown. Because Raw is always their flagship show, and it is always going to be their flagship show. So yeah, be interesting to see how that all pans out, but that's how I think it's going to happen. I did read that they're probably going to look to bring in... Well, it made me laugh. It said, I saw that the headline on one of these wrestling news websites, and it said WWE did not plan to bring in a second championship at this point in time, and I thought, they can't be running one championship across two brands. Then I read the story, it said, oh yeah, they're not going to bring in the new championship until SummerSlam. I'm like, well, that's the next pay-per-view after Battleground. That's what I expected. They're not going to bring it in any sooner than that, are they? Oh, I did forget to mention, but it did say on the screen, this is an Extreme Rules match, so this is all legal. So yeah, that may have been a bit out of sense for a while there for a second. So yeah, I'm happy-ish with the drafts, but I think, like I said, I think we'll see quite a bit of strength added over the next few months, I think, anyway, with some more additions from NXT. I think as soon as the next takeover is completed, I think we might see a couple more move up to the main roster. I don't know, it's tricky to say who's going to come up. Maybe Austin Aries could be one of them. I think as soon as... I think Raw is going to bring back the Cruiserweight division. They've already announced that. But I believe that's going to be after the Cruiserweight Classic is completed. Rumour has it that the Cruiserweight Classic winner may be given the Cruiserweight Championship, which I laughed when as soon as I read that. I was laughing because I thought to myself, that's exactly what we did. Have WWE been watching our channel? Have they stolen our ideas here? So that made me laugh a little bit. So that could be a point, and that's probably why they're signing guys like Ibushi and Grand Metalik and Tajiri Kendrick and Tozawa as well, to bring them straight onto that Raw roster alongside guys that are already there like Sin Cara. That's why I was surprised they put Kalisto over on SmackDown, because if they are going to be bringing back this Cruiserweight division, I didn't understand the idea of having Kalisto on SmackDown. I thought he would have been better off staying on Raw and going for that Cruiserweight Championship when it came back into effect. That's what really confused me. But there you go. Another thing that really confused me was the idea for WWE to split up the Wyatt family. That just shocked me a little bit. I think if you're going to split the Wyatt family, I think sending Braun Strowman on his own is probably the worst thing you possibly could have done. Now, don't get me wrong, I could be completely wrong, and I hope I'm completely wrong. I hope he makes a success out of himself, but for me, he just looks a little bit vulnerable on his own. Unless he's just going to be this dominant heel that doesn't speak and just comes out and destroys, then that could work, but I just don't think it'll work for too long. It never does, and these sort of guys are normally just henchmen, and they need that mouthpiece in front of them to really give them some sort of direction. Maybe he could end up becoming, I was going to say the Authority's sort of henchman, but if Mick Foley's there, then it looks like we're going to have two face GMs at the moment, but it's odd to see. It's hard to see what's going to happen, really. Oh, look at that Scorpion Death Drop on the ladder by Sting. If that doesn't get him into the Elimination Chamber, I don't know what will. Of course, he can't pin in there. He's got to get his shoulders flat on the mat, and Ambrose seems to be spurred on by that Scorpion Death Drop on the ladder. Of course, we know he came from Caesar W. He sort of gets a kick out of pain like that, really, doesn't he? Sick and twisted individual that is Dean Ambrose. A Sting just choking Dean Ambrose out. And again, I think he gets a kick out of most of this, telling us truth. Ambrose getting back up to his feet. A couple of elbows to the gut of Sting. Snapmare. Wrenching back of the neck. And I've heard some very horrible rumours of the last few days, and I'm hoping these are really not true, that Luke Harper might be retiring. And I don't know, he put out a really cryptic tweet the other week saying, I can't remember what it said now, something along the lines of, let me have a quick look because I'm on Twitter now. It wasn't very good, whatever it was. Luke Harper. It was, thank you, see you soon, goodbye forever. That's what Luke Harper tweeted, and I know that doesn't sound very good to me at all. I know he had a pretty bad injury towards the end of last year, and he was not involved in the draft, which means he can't be close to coming back. But I would be absolutely devastated if this means that if this means this guy is going to be retiring. I'd be absolutely devastated. Sting here, tombstone power driver on Dean Ambrose. And surely that's going to be enough to put Sting through to the Elimination Chamber. 2 and 3 and it is. Sting does win the qualifier, and he will be joining Matanza Cueto in the Elimination Chamber next weekend. We still have 4 more slots in that Elimination Chamber. We'll be finding one of those out in our main event here this evening, the Fatal 4-Way. And of course, we'll be finding out the other 3 next week. There was that Scorpion Death Drop on the ladder. And then just choking the neck of Sting. Sting got back up to his feet though and caught Dean Ambrose with that Samoan drop. And again, the back of Ambrose's head just hitting that ladder. So painful. And you see Sting taking Dean Ambrose on. And there is the Tombstone Piledriver. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. The dodgy 2K writing. And there is the free count. I hope they take that away in next year's game, because that whole I'm going to use my finisher, then I'm going to wander around before I go for the pin thing. Gets on my bloody nerves, it really does. So we've got one more big match coming up for you. And here is that main event. It's going to be a fatal 4-way match between all 4 guys from the NWO. The former champion Hollywood Hulk Hogan. We've got Scott Hall, we've got Kevin Nash, and we have the Giant. And here we go, our big main event. We know what Eric Bischoff is like. He's a sick and twisted man. And we love him for it, though. And he's come up with this idea, this fatal 4-way match between the 4 guys from the NWO, putting them all against each other to see which one comes out top, which one has the passion and the desire to get inside that Elimination Chamber and face off against not only Matanza Cueto, but we also now know Sting is going to be in there as well. Of course, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the former champion, he had that belt for a little bit of time. Lost it, of course, to Matanza Cueto at Money in the Bank, and Matanza completely destroyed him, let's be honest. Ripped him to shreds. But he ripped him to shreds every single time the guys got into the ring last month, should I say. Matanza Cueto is really an absolute beast on this game. And I think he is in real life. Like I said, I've not watched Season 2 of Lucha Underground yet, but from what I've read and seen, it looks like he does completely dominate Lucha Underground for some time. And here comes Big Daddy Kevin Nash. One of the strongest guys on the game. Rated like 96, I think he is. Incredible, really. This is the downloaded version, the DLC version of Kevin Nash. I don't think the other one's quite as strong. But this is going to be an interesting one, this. All guys are really strong in this. Scott Hall is like a 90 or 91 or 92, something like that. Scott Hall's really strong on this. I think the Giant is going to be... I don't suppose he's going to be the wild card, but he's not the guy that everyone thinks going to win, I suppose. He's probably the underdog as such. To me, I would imagine probably this guy in the ring. I'm going to put my money on this guy in the ring right now, Kevin Nash, to come out of this one on top. To me, it just sort of looks like he could be the strong one in this one. He's been desperate to get this opportunity now for some time. And I don't think the other 3 guys in the NWO are really going to be able to stand in his way. I think he could end up destroying his own teammates here. And who knows, it could even destroy the stable. Maybe that's what's in Eric Bischoff's mind. Maybe he wants to make these guys implode from the inside by giving them this opportunity to face off against each other. Here is the bad guy, Scott Hall. Really good chance of winning this from Scott Hall. Like I said, he's a lot higher rated than people would think on this game. Like I said, he's like a 90 or something. I think he's about 90. And again, he could really easily win this match, and he could be involved in that Elimination Chamber. Who knows? Of course, one of the best Intercontinental Champions of all time as Razor Ramon. Of course, he had that fantastic ladder match against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 10. The first ever ladder match. Was it the first ever ladder match, or just the first ever ladder match in WWE or WWF at the time? You guys might have to let me know. I'm sure there might have been a ladder match somewhere else in the world. Probably like Japan or... yeah, there probably was one in Japan or Mexico or something like that, and they took the idea. But I don't know. Let me know if you know that in the comment section below. Let me know. It's always been announced as the first ever ladder match, but... is that just the first ever ladder match in WWE, or was it the first ever? Did they come up with the match idea? That's something I don't honestly know. You'll have to let me know on that one. And here comes the 4th and final entrant into the match. It is going to be the Giant, Paul White. I tell you what, he was a much better bloody wrestler at this point in his career. I'll tell you that now. Right now, he's absolutely useless. Back then, in the late 90s, early 2000s, this guy could move. He used to hit the chokeslam rather than just swinging a bear paw at people and hoping it hits. He used to do some really good moves. I miss that Paul White. I miss that Big Show. Now he's just this big bulk of a man who slowly clombers around the ring and generally gets knocked down pretty easily now by smaller wrestlers. That's his whole gimmick at the moment now, isn't it, really? Big man gets taken down. But again, like I said earlier on, it could be a complete wild card for this one. It's not very often that Kevin Nash is not the biggest man in a match, but this is one of those situations. And it'd be interesting to see exactly what happens here. Can Paul White, the Giant, or the Big Show, if you will, pull off a very unsuspecting victory here? It's time to find out as NWO collides. And here we go. One of these four men is going to join Sting and Matanza Cueto inside the Elimination Chamber next weekend. Of course, we will find out the other three members of that match next week as well. And of course, we're going to have to try and figure out number one contendership for the tag team championships, as well as number one contendership for maybe the United States Championship, or maybe I'll just give the matches to who are the people I want to, maybe. I could do that. I suppose. Scott Hall now, big diving clothesline from the middle rope, taking down the Giant. He needed to do that, and Kevin Nash just launching Hogan into the apron, now just slamming his head into the mat on the outside. And this just showing none of these guys really taking it easy on each other. Like I said, they're all desperate to get the victory. They're all desperate to get their opportunity to win the Thunder Championship. And of course, next week we're going to have 3 more qualifiers. We've still got quite a lot of strong guys. Just off the top of my head, we've got Cactus Jack, we've got The Undertaker, we've got Mil Muertes. Who else we got? Who else we have? We've got Randy Orton, we've got Sheamus, we've got Dolph Ziggler. Baron Corbin could get an opportunity. Bad News Barrett, Jack Swagger. RVD, why not? I think that's probably about all the people that I would probably give an opportunity to. There might be more on there, but who knows? Dusty Rhodes. Booker T as well, he's on there. So there's quite a few guys that could get an opportunity here. Also, obviously Bray Wyatt as well is another one. Jimmy Havoc. Abyss. So there's a lot of big names we could still bring in to this Elimination Chamber. Maybe next week we're going to have to maybe do like maybe another Fatal 4-Way, maybe a 6-man Battle Royal as well, just to try and give everyone the opportunity to get themselves inside that match. Maybe 3 Fatal 4-Ways would give us 12 guys opportunities. Maybe that would be a good way of doing it. Of course, as I mentioned on earlier in the episode, please nip over to my Twitter page. There will be a link in the description below. There is a poll up at the moment asking whether you would prefer me to carry on with this universe mode, but obviously we would need to merge Thunder and Nitro, and we would merge Raw and SmackDown as well, or whether you would like me to start a new universe mode once we finish off the pay-per-views and start with Raw, SmackDown and NXT as they are right now in current day. So the brand new rosters that were drafted last week, as well as, of course, the new guys that are in NXT, as well as some of the Global Cruiserweight Classic guys, whatever they're called, as well, because they have been working the tapings recently, so no reason why we couldn't use them. But yeah, let me know what you would prefer to see. I'm really leaving it in your guys' hands at the moment. I probably would prefer to start a new universe mode, but I'd rather not make that decision myself. I'd rather go with the decision that you guys want to watch, because of course at the end of the day, it's you guys that are viewing the videos. You see Paul White wanting nothing really of Kevin Nash. Nash slides into the ring. It looked like he was lining his former partner Scott Hall up there for a jackknife. I say they're not former partners, they're still partners. They're just in this match against each other, aren't they? I keep forgetting that. There's that huge choke slam there by Paul White on Hollywood Hulk Hogan. This could be a massive win here for Paul White the Giant. 1, 2. He's done it. He's done it. The wild card. Paul White, the Giant, the henchman of the NWO, has only gone and won the Fatal 4-Way match and got himself into the Elimination Chamber next weekend against Matanza Cueto and Sting. Wow, that's going to be interesting, that, because it'd be interesting if Matanza can dominate the Big Show, Paul White, as much as he can. Guys like Hogan, because to tell the truth, Paul White did a fantastic job here. As you see, just some of the great moves that he used to be able to pull off before he got big and slow, rather than just a Big Show. And here you see, just grabbing Hogan by the throat, and barely even uses the second hand to lift him up. So on the outside, Nash and Hall were fighting out. Hall had just dropped Nash over his shoulders, and Hall just not paying attention to what was happening in the ring. He was still taking Nash down on the outside, and that allowed Paul White to pick up the 3 count. And we're going to have some interesting guys in the Elimination Chamber next weekend. We've got 3 guys announced already. Matanza Cueto. We've got the Giant Paul White. And, of course, we have Sting as well. Next week, we will discover our other 3 entrants into that Elimination Chamber. So be sure to keep an eye out for that one. And, of course, as I've already mentioned, nip over to Twitter in that link in the description below. And make your choice for what universe mode you would prefer to see. Continuing on with this one, or starting a new one based on the current day rosters, including NXT. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Of course, if you have, then it'd be great if you could hit that like button. Of course, if you are new around here and you've enjoyed what you've seen, then hit that subscribe button as well for a lot more of the WWE 2K16 universe mode, be it this one or be it a brand new one starting soon. That is yet to be seen. That is your guys' decision, and that will be made by probably next Friday before I start to record the Elimination Chamber. I will know either way. So I've been Shabby Gamer, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all, I was going to say tomorrow, but it's not going to be because I'm running late on this one, so I'll see you very soon, probably in a couple of hours, for our next episode of SmackDown.